I'm back. I want to try and do one under 10 minutes. Firstly, the police are not in the loft. Whoever made that comment, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but you highly amused me. Firstly, this is a 3-storey house, and this room, or this entire floor, is partly in what is the roof. So the loft isn't very big, and it was purpose built. It wasn't, do you know how people have a loft and turn it into a room? This was actually built as a 3-storey house, so my loft is very tiny. And also, secondly, and my dad agrees with this, Melissa Chadwick would not fit through that hall, even though it's quite wide. It's probably the same size as a normal loft, but she wouldn't fit in there. And no, the police are not in the loft, and you did highly amuse me, so thank you for making me laugh for the first time in a week or over a week. To be honest, I wouldn't want Melissa Chadwick in my loft because she'd probably shout nasty things to me. Because I'm pretty sure Melissa doesn't have a nice bone in her body, and she doesn't know how to be nice. So I do have updates. My dad spoke to her former inspector this morning. I wasn't around for the phone call, so I only know what my dad's told me about the phone call. But basically, when he was her inspector, he, from what I've been told, moved her to Burnley because she kept going against him and not carrying out his wishes. She was doing whatever she wanted, basically. And as I said in other videos, she was slandering him. Like, before I'd ever met him, or even spoken to him, the first time I actually had any contact with him, I actually met him. And she had basically made him sound like he couldn't do his job. He was 12 years old, and she was having to basically do everything for him because he didn't have a clue what he was doing. But she was just basically slandering. She called him a knob to my face. She said similar things to my dad about him. And she kept ignoring him because he kept saying to basically leave me alone, because every time she contacted me, she'd be really mean to me, like really, really mean. And I'd go off and do stupid things. The difference between me 3 years ago and me now is I won't put up with her crap anymore. I'm a different person to what I was 3 years ago, and I won't put up with it. I will bloody shut her down as quickly as I can, aka complain, because in the past she had me so scared that I wouldn't even dare tell people what she was doing to me. She was making my life a living hell. She was constantly turning up at my house, banging on the door, threatening to put it through if I didn't answer it, accusing me of all kinds of things, even accusing me of murder at one point. And I was just constantly petrified of this woman and her threats. And she can threaten me as much as she wants now because I'm not scared of her anymore. I'm not putting up with DC Melissa Chadwick making my life a living hell. She bullied me from September till around April the following year, constantly. And she actually got worse, and it was continuous, and her supervisor Mark was telling her to leave me alone, and she never did it. So she did get shipped off to Burnley. So Troglodyte Melissa still wasn't meant to contact me because she had been told by her inspector, and even though he's not her inspector now, he's still her superior, and what he said stands. But Melissa seems to think she runs the entire police station, and that's not even an exaggeration. Some of the things she would come out with, and also the fact that she wouldn't let me or my dad speak to anyone above her, is her thinking that she's above everyone else, but she's a DC at the end of the day. Basically, her former inspector isn't happy that she phoned me. I mean, he knows she's not meant to contact me. He was the one that put that in place, and she knew she weren't meant to contact me. She was abusive towards me. She told me the police don't want to help me, and basically her former supervisor wasn't happy, and he will be contacting her to tell her to stop contacting me. Yet again, she's gone against orders. She's upset me. She was abusive towards my dad as well. I mean, she needs to learn a little bit of respect, because ringing someone who she knows isn't very well, and being abusive towards them is evil. Supervisor will find out what she's done as well. I mean, that's not enough punishment really. She should be sacked for what she's done. I have PTSD because of Melissa Chadwick from the police. I feel sorry for any victim that goes to the police for help and she gets put on the case, because she'll probably drive them insane. She almost tipped me over the edge. I wanted to die because of Melissa Chadwick. And the other day when she phoned me, I was having the week from hell. And as I keep saying, I haven't disclosed on it what's happened this past week. It isn't just to do with the police. There's other stuff been going on in my personal life that, you know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know I normally put a weekly vlog up on a Thursday, or I do bi-weekly vlogs, and I've not been doing that. And, you know, that was a decision I made before last week, and I'm glad I made that decision, because I wouldn't have wanted to edit a video to get up for Thursday last week or Thursday this week, because there is stuff going on. And Melissa ringing and giving me shit and being mean to me is out of order. I'm not a criminal. I've not murdered half the police station because that's how I've been treated. And I'm doing nothing wrong. And also, it wasn't her decision. Well, she shouldn't have made the decision about the panic alarm. What the inspector told my dad was, I basically shouldn't have had the alarm for 4 years, because I've had it for 4 years. And it's only meant to be a short-term thing for a few months. And something about 2 years maximum or something, he said, like, and I've had it double that time, basically. And it was an oversight, but it shouldn't have been Melissa who decided to take it out, because clearly it was an act of revenge. Don't worry, Melissa, karma is a bitch and it's going to come back round massively on you, and I'll just sit back and wait for karma. But if you're watching and you want to put a complaint in, feel free to do so, because when I was on the phone to Melissa, and this is how dodgy Melissa is as a police officer, I said to Melissa, you're making me suicidal, I feel like I'm going to go off and kill myself. She went, well, I'm not going to do anything about that. So I went, so I've just told you I'm going to kill myself and you're not going to do anything about it. She went, exactly. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to contact anyone. I went, well, you have a duty of care. She went, yeah, except for to you. So basically, she was going to let me go off and commit suicide. If I had said that to the inspector that spoke to my dad today, if I said to him, I'm going to go and commit suicide now, he would do something. Regardless of his personal feelings, he would do something. Whereas I told her I was going to do it, she told me she weren't going to inform anyone, and she didn't. So really, Melissa Chadwick shouldn't have a job with the police, because someone who she just rung up and purposely upset for 15 to 20 minutes told her that when she got off the phone she was going to commit suicide. She then told the person, Melissa told me, she weren't going to do anything about it. So please feel free to put in as many complaints as possible, because she shouldn't have a job. If I told you about everything she did to me when she knew me originally, you'd be absolutely horrified. I will write books about it. I will tell the press about it. I will get her name in the papers if I have to. She's the most evil, second most evil woman. And if you're thinking what I've told you so far is pretty evil, the person in first place must be evil. There's nothing on Melissa, this other one. And her supervisor probably would have been informed of what she's been up to, because, yet again, she's going against orders. I mean, she's a DC. She shouldn't be going against orders. And I'm pretty sure the inspectors don't go against their superiors, so, you know, she's a problem, isn't she? She bullies people, and I heard she works with young children. Well, based on how she treated me, I'd hate to be a young child in her care, because she's a bloody nightmare. She's a troglodyte. And I know she's watching my videos. Hi, Melissa. I told her the other day that I was... Do you know what? It was funny because, as I said, I had a dream about her and I couldn't work out why. And then I found out about the alarm and I was like, oh, that's probably why I had the dream. Then, the nightmare from hell, Melissa Chadwick, rings me up, gives me abuse when I'm having the week from hell as it is. Then I tell her I'm going to commit suicide and she doesn't do anything about it. That's good policing, isn't it? She don't deserve to be a police officer. They should sack her without pension. That's what she should be. In fact, she must be in her 60s. And if she isn't, I'm really surprised. Even my dad was like, she's got to be in her 60s by now. I'm going to go. I will update you again. I haven't been on for a few days because, and I'm struggling to keep up with this because she's drained me. I am so drained, physically and mentally. I'm barely sleeping. And it's, yet again, because of Melissa Chadwick, is affecting my mental and physical health. Yet she's still working as a police officer, which I think is wrong, because she shouldn't be allowed near people if this is how she treats them. And she was telling me all about Bill Roach and how guilty he was. And she was actually telling me in details as well. She's also told me about other cases as well. So, you know, how can you trust the police when they're talking about personal cases that have nothing to do with you? And that's Melissa Chadwick, who apparently is in charge of the whole entire police force. So please feel free to put complaints in. It will help me out. You can do it anonymously as well. Just, you know, put on that she's bullying people and come and arrest me. She's told me in the past she'd love to arrest me. She's even told me in the past she's falsified evidence against me to make it look like I'd done things that I hadn't. So there you go. That's what DC Melissa Chadwick from Burnley Police is up to.